joining the Accident and Injury Related Visits webinar today. My name is Heather. We'll go ahead and get started. When a patient is seen for an accident or injury related visit, their medical expenses may be billed to a third party. So for example, auto insurance or workers' comp insurance. When the patient indicates they are being seen for an accident or injury related visit at scheduling or check-in, we need to ensure that we are marking yes in the accident related field under the visit information folder. Once we have indicated that the patient is being seen for an accident or injury, we will also need to make sure that claim information is attached to that visit. So we will do that by going to the registration toolbar and selecting the claim info button. Once you select claim info, that will open up a window for you that is the visit claim information selection. Now when this window opens up, there may already be some claim information forms that already exist within that table. And so we want to go ahead and verify some information with the patient, such as the date of injury and the body part injured, the type of injury, just to determine if there is already an existing form for the accident. And if the appropriate form does already exist for the accident, then we will go ahead and highlight that entry here on this table and click select. Once you click select, you will see that your claim information has been marked with a check mark, and that means that that claim information is now attached to your visit. From there, you can go ahead and select finish at the bottom of that window. Now, if there is no existing claim information forms, then a new form will need to be created. And we can create that form by, on that same visit claim information selection window, we will select create new. This will open up a window that is called claim information name. And there will be a field for you to name the claim. But you will not need to name the claim. You will actually leave that field blank, and the system will automatically create the name of the claim. So go ahead and just leave name of claim blank and click accept. So once you create your new claim form, you'll be taken to the accident information form, where we will need to fill out as much information within this form as possible. All of this information does go on the actual claim that is sent to the insurance, so that's why it's so important to have all of this information. So at a minimum, we do want to collect the following information. So hopefully the patient has a claim number. If so, we will enter it in here in the claim number field. If they do not have the claim number, then you can go ahead and leave that blank. We will definitely need the date of injury. We will need the accident type, and in this case, we have listed workers' compensation. We will need the body part that's disabled, so that will be the body part that was injured. We will need the time of injury entered, and we will need the condition related to completed. And so in this situation, we listed patient employment because this was a workers' compensation injury. Make sure you're using your magnifying glasses on this form. That will help you choose your options that can be used in these fields. We want to list the city and the state of which the injury occurred. And if this is a workers' comp injury, then we want to list the employer. And then we also need the accident address and the injury description listed on the claim form as well. So once all of that information is completed, you will click Next at the bottom of the window. Once you click Next, that will take you to the therapy illness form. On the therapy illness form, the only thing you'll need to complete is the "Is this injury, illness, or LMP" question. And when it's an accident or injury, you will go ahead and enter accident or injury as your answer in that field. And then, of course, we want to list the date of the injury as well. And that's basically all you'll need to do on this page here. Once you complete those two fields, you can go ahead and select Return. And then you will now notice the claim now has an ID and a description. The red check mark will indicate that the claim form is now attached to the visit. From here, you can click Finish. All right, now when a patient is being seen for a injury, we want to make sure that we are choosing the correct guarantor type for that type of injury. So for workers' comp in related injuries, then we will use the workers' comp guarantor type. For auto-related or liability injuries, we will go ahead and use the third-party guarantor type. Liability injury would be, for example, if a patient gets hurt at Target, if they maybe slipped and fell, and Target is going to provide their insurance information for us to bill for their visit, then in that case, we would also choose third party for the guarantor. And then personal family guarantor will be used for any other accident-related injuries. We also want to make sure that we are selecting the correct coverage for the type of accident. So for example, for work or auto-related accidents, you can enter workers' comp or auto in the search the system field and click the magnifying glass to start your search. That will allow you a list of auto insurances and workers' comp coverages to choose from. So with the coverage, we do want to enter the claim number as the subscriber ID. If the claim number cannot be determined, use the Social Security number in the case of workers' comp claims. Now, if the patient does not have a coverage or have their coverage available or the claim information, then go ahead and leave the account as a self-pay and tell the patient that they will need to contact the self-pay billing office at 801-587-6303 with the information within 3 business days. All right, now let's go through a couple of scenarios here, and together we will fill out the claim information, accident information. All right, so scenario 1 is April 21st, 2014 at 4:10 p.m. Sharon was driving through Smith's parking lot when she was struck by another car backing out of a parking stall, injuring her left elbow. West Valley Police were called. Sharon's auto insurance is Bear Mutual, and the claim number is 613-2547. So within our accident information on our claim info form, we're going to start at the top with emergency. And we can go ahead and list no as the emergency, that this was not an emergency. And then in the claim number, we do have a claim number available, so we can list that there, the 613-2547. And then the accident type is going to be listed as automobile. The time of injury was 4:10 p.m. And law enforcement was involved, so we'll put West Valley Police in law enforcement agency. And then driver or passenger, this was an auto accident, so we'll list the driver, that the patient is the driver in this scenario. And the state was Utah. There was no workers' comp employer related in this scenario, so we'll leave that blank. The date of injury was April 21st, 2014. And the body part disabled was the elbow. The condition related to is auto. And parties involved was the patient and the other driver. The city was West Valley City. For AirMed and operating physician, we could go ahead and leave those blank. Those do not apply in this scenario. And for the accident address, we will list the Smith's parking lot on 4700 South and 4100 West. And then the injury description, we can list hit by another car as she was backing out of the parking stall at Smith's and hit left arm on the door. All right, so in this scenario, what guarantor type would we use? Well, this was an automobile accident, so in that scenario, we are going to use the third-party coverage. And the coverage for this visit is going to be the patient's auto insurance coverage. All right, so scenario number 2. It was a chilly October 23rd morning when Jacob decided to take a brisk run in the Payson Centennial Park as he rounded the corner by the city pool. He was charged by a dog who caught up to him and bit him on the right hand. Jacob pulled out his phone and called the local police and filed a report. So emergency, this was would be answered as no. This was not considered an emergency. We didn't have a claim number, so we could leave that blank. And then the accident type is other. This was not work-related or auto-related, so that's why we list this as other. And then the time of injury is 8 o'clock a.m. Law enforcement was involved. It was the Payson police. There was no driver or passenger, so we leave that blank. The state was Utah. Workers' comp employer, we can leave that blank. Date of injury was October 23rd, 2017. And body part disabled was the hand. And condition related to was other accident-related injury. And parties involved was the patient. The city was Payson City. And AirMed and operating physician can be left blank. The accident address was at the Payson Centennial Park, and the injury description was patient was running in park and was attacked by a dog who bit him on the right hand. So the guarantor type that we would use in this situation would be personal family. The patient has told us that they would like to bill, that we're going to bill the patient's medical insurance for this type of injury. So in that case, it'll be personal family for the guarantor, and we will bill the medical insurance for that patient. So scenario 3, William works at Lots of Boxes warehouse in South Jordan. It was 9:30 on January 16th, 2016. He was driving his forklift. The boxes he lifted were too heavy and ended up tipping the forklift over. He thinks he sprained his right elbow. His claim number is 898-7654. And we do have the address of the accident. So again, this was not an emergency. We can list no. Claim info was 898-7654. The accident type is, of course, workers' comp. He was hurt while working. The time of injury was 9:30 a.m. Law enforcement agency was not involved, so we can leave that blank. He was a driver of a forklift, but this field will be left blank because it's referring to an automobile. So we would leave driver or passenger blank. State was Utah. And the workers' comp employer, we're going to go ahead and list that because this was a workers' comp injury. So lots of boxes will be filled in on the workers' comp employer field. Date of injury is January 16th, 2016. Body part is elbow. Condition related to will be listed as patient's employment. And remember to use your magnifying glasses. Those will help you decide what options you have available to use for these fields. And then parties involved was the patient. City was South Jordan. AirMed and operating physician can be left blank. The accident address will be listed. And injury description was patient was at work while driving his forklift. He lifted, the load was too heavy, knocking over his forklift. Now, what guarantor do we use in this scenario? Well, that would be the workers' compensation guarantor. And then what coverage would we use? That would also be workers' compensation coverage. Okay, now for auto accidents, we do have an auto questionnaire available. And that questionnaire is available on Pulse. If you just search auto, you should be able to find that. This form can be filled out when the patient is seen for auto-related injuries. This will just allow us to complete the insurance information, especially if that patient didn't have their auto insurance information card available. We can go ahead and get this completed and scan that to the patient's chart. This also has a nice disclaimer at the bottom of this form, informing the patient that why we are actually billing the patient's insurance regardless of who is at fault. So that gives that patient just a little bit of information regarding Utah's no-fault law. So for workers' comp, we do have some additional resources here for you. And also we want to just inform everybody of the 123 form that does need to be completed at the time of injury when we are seeing a patient for workers' comp. So the Form 123 form will need to be completed by the patient and the physician at the time of the visit. That form is available on the Labor Commission website. So once that form is completed, ensure it gets faxed to the Labor Commission at 801-530-6804 and scan a copy to the patient's chart once it's completed as well. And then follow your clinic's workflow for any additional follow-up regarding workers' comp visits. Again, that form, if you don't already have copies of that form at your front desk, you can access those forms at the laborcommission.utah.gov website by clicking on the form publications in the header of their website and then selecting forms and publication search. Another great resource on this website is the workers' comp carrier check. What that can help you do is find out who the workers' comp carrier is for employers. And you can access that by, again, going to the Labor Commission website, selecting the online services, and then the workers' comp check. Click on the workers' comp check icon. And that will just ask you for some information regarding the employer, and that will also tell you who the workers' comp carrier is for that employer if the patient does not have that information. All right, and that actually concludes our webinar for accident injury related visits today. Thank you so much for joining and have a great day.